Hi everybody, Jacqueline here, and today I'm going to show you proper technique for squats. So squats are sometimes really difficult for people to understand, and as I promised, I'm going to take my beginner group into an 8-week challenge starting September 7th. So leading up to that, we are going to learn how to squat. So there are 3 different ways. First of all, if you're a newbie, and what I do when I personal train and I test people, there's 2 ways to test them in their leg strength. So generally I use a squat test. So what I get them to do if they have knee issues is I get them to come up against a wall and come on down so that your knees are at 90, your back and your tailbone and you're solidly placed against the wall, your feet are flat on the floor, ankles right under knees, and you're at 90 degrees. And then we would time you and we would hold that squat and we would see how you would do timing wise. So that is a squat, that's sort of a leg strength squat plan. It's a great training technique for skiing, getting prepped for skiing, but it's also a great way to just build strength in your legs without really hurting your knees. So a lot of people, as they get older, have knee issues. Part of the problem with knee issues is doing a regular squat. So if you were to perform a regular squat, I would have you stand whatever is comfortable for you with your legs slightly wider than hip width. If you're comfortable at hip width, that's fine. If your hips gets kind of sticky as you go down, that's not so good. You might not want to have those legs with your knees and your ankles right under the hips. So you want to place them a little wider apart. I do this because my hips are quite tight if I keep them squarely set. So especially for women, it's sometimes a little more comfortable to have those toes out. So what you're going to do is you're going to come down, leading with your hips coming backwards. Your body stays upright, your shoulders are back, your abdominals are tight, your core is tight. You're going to come down into a squat. Now come down, if you're a beginner, as far as you can without falling over. Obviously your weight is centered, so I'm going to step back a bit so you can see my weight is centered, but I'm able to lift my toes. That does not mean that you squat with your toes up, you just want to be able to lift them. So as I come up, and I can go quite deep with my legs slightly wider apart, I can push up through my feet until I'm standing straight. Now you don't want to hyperextend those knees. You want to straighten the knees without hyperextending them. And you want to squeeze your bum at the top of the move. Your shoulder blades come back and down. So let's try that again. You're going to come down, and if you can only come to here, I don't care. Just come to here. Push through the floor, push up, and squeeze the bum at the top of the move. Come back to nice and tall. I'll go again. I'll go a little bit deeper. So I can wiggle my toes, but my body is upright as much as possible. So as soon as I stand too far back, I'm going to fall backwards. So you're kind of the same line that your shins are. So are my knees slightly in front of my toes? Not really. If I look down, they look like they are, but you want to try and keep them behind your toes. Squeeze the bum. What not to do is if you look in the mirror and you're doing a squat like this, first of all, the ankles have a really hard time with that. Second of all the pressure is going into the knees and your weight is over the toes. That's a no-no. So coming back, coming to a spot where you feel like you've got enough weight bearing for now. You can always work on getting deeper as you get stronger. You're going to push through the floor, squeeze the bum, reset the shoulders. If you have a really, really hard time with that, I have a trick for you. So I have a chair here. My other chairs are counter height chairs, so I can't demonstrate. So I have this big leather chair that I'm going to demonstrate in. So what you're going to do is you're going to stand away from the chair a little bit. So dining room chairs are perfect for this. You're going to come back and you're going to go like you're going to sit down. And if you've got a lean, like your leans on the side of the chair as an arm, you can lower yourself down and get back up. Lower yourself down, go to where you can, and get back up. That's your level 1. Lower yourself down, get back up, and repeat. So, this is going to strengthen your legs. So as you lower, you want to look down at your knees, and that's for anybody who's learning to squat. And what I was showing you before, I'm looking down at my knees. My knees are not going in. So I'll show you this facing this way. I couldn't show you this before. So when you're coming down into your squat, you're going to look at your knees, and if you see your knees coming in, axe that. Track them straight. Come back up. All it means is that your inner thigh muscles, your adductors, are stronger than your other leg muscles to keep you tracking straight. So think about tracking straight. Come back up, squeeze the bum. Think about tracking those knees straight. See, as I sit down, my toes are actually off the ground. So after you finished and you're getting strong enough to not use your armrests to help you get back up or down, maybe you need help with both, but really, really try not to use them. So you could come down, your chest is up, your shoulders are back, and hover. Just hover over the chair, come back up. Come down, hover, come back up. That's your next stage, okay? So come back down, come back up. Squeeze the bum, always squeeze the bum at the top of the move. But squeeze the bum without hyperextending the knees. So coming down, knees are not coming in, they're tracking straight. I can wiggle my toes, but I'm not going to. I'm going to keep them on the floor. My body is upright. I'm slightly leaning forward, probably the same angle as my shins. I'm coming down, I'm coming down, I'm coming down. I'm going to squeeze the bum without hyperextending. I can't say that enough. So, lots of things to think about. As you're learning to squat, learn to squat properly. Make sure your knees are not tracking in as you sit down. They're tracking straight. Don't try to purposely track them out. Just track them straight. You're going to start to build the right muscles in the legs. So your quads, especially these ones and these ones, want to strengthen. Of course, the Latin terms, I could give you the Latin terms, but your quadriceps are the front of the legs. You're also using your glutes as you come up. And your hamstrings are working, but it's mainly quads that you're working here. And you come back up, you squeeze that bum. No hyperextension, but your legs do extend fully. There's extension and then there's hyperextension. So as a young girl, right into my 20s, I used to stand like this. I guess it made me shorter. I'm 6 feet tall. So my legs would go like this. So I always had knee pain, and I've trained myself to stop having knee pain. As soon as I started my personal training journey and I realized the proper form and technique with which to go with, my knees are better. They're a lot better. So I want you to try that, learn the technique, and then start with maybe 12 to 15 reps of whatever you can do. Do 1 set, then go to 2 sets, then 3 sets. And once you get your squat technique good, and you can wear running shoes. I'm not wearing running shoes just to show you that I can wiggle my toes when I come down into my squat.
I hope that has helped you out. It's a short little 10-minute. Next, I'm going to talk about lunges, and then I'm going to talk about upper body corrections for push-ups, because a lot of people don't like push-ups, especially women. They hate to do push-ups, and there's no reason why you can't learn proper technique and you can't learn how to do them. Thank you for watching. I hope I've helped you out. Ask some questions in the comments. If you need more clarification, I'm happy to give it. There are other methods of learning how to squat. You can use a ball against the wall. The ball, though, it creates a little bit of instability. So for beginners, you want to learn how to squat properly, just do the things that I showed you. Try them out for me. Let me know how it goes.